This
All right.
conference will now be recorded.
All right. Thank you for sharing that with us. TikTok, TikTok. All right, it's 4:00, Monday, June 28th, and I will go ahead and get this infrastructure committee meeting for the city of Roswell started. Let's go ahead and have a roll call, please.
Counselor Roebuck,
Here.
Counselor Kennard. Here. Counselor Peterson,
Here.
Counselor Sanchez.
Yes.
All right, and could I get a motion to approve the agenda as well as the minutes from May 24th?
I'll make the motion for the agenda and approval of the minutes of May 24th, 2021.
Second.
Second, great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Great. Non-action items, Commissioner Har.
Okay, our first item is project updates. We have the facilities report and the construction report. Go forward to the landfill picture. Okay, the one probably of special interest and priority is the landfill. Couple of things happening there. The plastic liner has still not been delivered. It's supposed to ship today or get shipped out today. Material delays, trucking delays, all trying to come back from COVID. Plus this weather's not helping. I know Mr. Chaparro's very concerned. We're gonna look at with Souter Miller and try to estimate with some survey shots, how much time we have left on the other one. And it's just a race. It's a race of who can finish first. J&H hopefully can get done before we run out of space on cell number 5. The backup plan is to be talking to New Mexico ED and cell number 2. Possibly. We would reuse cell number 2 and stack it higher. But that's where we're at right now. And of course, Mother Nature is not helping. Because every day that the project is delayed, we're still picking up trash.
Right.
So it's not a weather delay for trash pickup. And we stand for any questions on any of the projects or updates.
Obviously, it all depends on the literal volume of trash you're getting, stuff like that, but we're getting down to the wire. How much of well, I guess as soon as you have an idea about what the window is, how close we're cutting it, or if we're not going to cut it, like, are we talking about a week over past when it's full? You know, I guess I don't know. At what point do you actually open up 2 again?
So in order to open up 2, we'd have to have that discussion with the state to allow us.
Sure, so that's significant. That's like more than, I mean, what kind of delay would require that?
Until we get the numbers back by the end of the week. We can
Okay.
have that conversation, then engage the state. But it would be towards the point of, you might have to look at transporting.
So I think at the end of the week, when you do get those numbers, if you make sure all the counselors get a short email,
We can give an update.
give us an update saying that we feel like that it's going to be tight, but we're going to make it. We feel like that we're going to miss it by a month and therefore this. Just be real clear about.
What we're gonna do is Souter Miller's gonna go take some shots. Once all this engineering survey team will be there.
Yep.
So we know what references they're using. So once a week, we'll take shots so we can start plugging that into the model and see how we're going.
Okay.
So we can have a weekly update,
Yeah, let's do that.
but it's getting that critical.
Okay. I mean, yeah, because it would be interesting to know, like, do we have 2 months roughly estimated left? Do we have,
I think my gut tells me they're gonna be within a matter of weeks.
okay, a matter of weeks, we're going to be able to figure it out. It's going to be tight, but
And it's just a matter of them getting the material, which they should get next week, and then the weather.
so I think too, and I'm not recommending this, so nobody hold me to this, wherever that recorder is. But, you know, is there a point where we tell people, hey, if you can wait to throw it away, for a week or 2 weeks, wait to throw it away. Did we get to that spot? Hopefully not. Okay, I'm not recommending that. I'm just,
No, I personally, I don't think that would work,
sure.
and we wouldn't want to recommend it. It would be better to have the backup plan of cell number 2, or you have a backup plan if we use a future cell as a temporary holding place, and then we would have to handle the trash twice.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, great. Any other questions from the committee?
No.
Okay, if not, we can move on.
Next item would be the RAC Terminal, and Scott Stark, Airport Director's here.
Afternoon, councilors. So I'll start with a little bit of history on this project, if you're here. Okay.
I like to be on TV.
If you recall, in 2019, in the fall, we were awarded $2 million on the Military Airport Program grant to build this parking lot. We had a little bit of a delay because there were some questions about what we could do with the money, and it took a while to get that resolved, but we're just really getting started right now with the idea of approving the layout of the parking lot. So we've signed a task order with Armstrong Consultants to do that. And today I'm asking for council input on the draft site plan. Last week we ran this through legal, did the same thing, asked the same questions. Once we have this, the next step with Armstrong.
We'll get the real information from him.
There you go. The next step obviously would be the engineering design and construction. So next slide. I just got the button, but. So this is the site plan as it exists now. The red over on the right side is rental car parking as it exists today and what we want to reserve and change for the future. So we would actually put a barrier up to separate rental car parking from our terminal parking. Part of the idea with all of the parking site plan is to separate any neighborhood, if you will, through traffic from our circulation at the terminal. Right now, Challenger comes in from the west and Challenger comes in from the east. But in this plan, it would close Challenger off from Jerry Smith so that you wouldn't have that mix happen. Correct. And so the one piece of that is concerning to everyone is fire response to the terminal. So when we were designing this plan, we got with the fire department. It was Chief Graham then, and had them do a test, see what they thought about it. It was about 5 to 10 seconds longer to go out the Earl Cummings and come back in, so they had no concerns whatsoever. The other option for them is they could go out the airport side and come in the back to respond to a fire. So they did not have any concerns with this plan. We ran this through Lewis's desk and I don't think, it's been a while, so I don't think there was any.
It's been a while, but I've been working with Armstrong.
Yeah, so Lewis has seen it and he's familiar with it. The original plan talked about the two blue colors at the bottom, area 1 and area 2. Those would be covered parking and paid for parking. The idea is right now everything's free, but if we're going to charge for parking, we want to give a value. So everything that's going to be charged would be covered. We had a meeting last Tuesday to kind of go over this last minute and look at what the thoughts were with everybody. And we kind of shifted that a little bit. There was some concern that initially we had planned our terminal expansion all around the current building and all of it goes out into the ramp. Those are the concepts that we have now. But if we shifted that any and used that park area where the grass is now, where area 1 and 2 are, and built that terminal into that parking lot any, then we would be blocking ourselves from doing that if we put covered parking out there, or we have to demolish anything that we build. So the compromise was to take area 1, pave it for parking, and put the covered parking into area 4, so that we reserve that area in the west of the current terminal for potential expansion. So I'll stop there and just ask to see what questions you have, comments, complaints.
Do you have any more presentation? Is that it?
I'm sorry.
Is there more slides?
There's one more slide that shows phase.
What's the next slide?
Go ahead and flip to the next slide. And that just shows the current phasing that we're talking about for this one, which would use area 4 as long-term covered parking. That is the wrong slide, I'm sorry. But anyway, it's still the same area except for 4 added in there.
So can you go back to the last slide then?
Yeah. That's my fault. I put the wrong slide in there. That was the original.
Okay, so what you're talking about now is putting covered parking where? Here,
In the green area. So covered parking would go here.
which is how many, 54 spots?
Yep.
And then this will all be uncovered.
So this, we would try to do this whole area 1 uncovered and as much as area 2 as the money would allow us to do, but we won't know what that is till we do the design work. But up to this point and this minor change, all of the planning around parking centered around an expansion of the terminal out into the ramp rather than any of it going into the current park. Issues that would be involved with the terminal going out that direction. If you put a whole new building there, you've got no infrastructure supporting it. You've got to redo all the infrastructure, all of the streets, all of the pipes, everything else. We would possibly have to demolish building 611, which was the DOH building, and building 610, which is the New Mexico National Guard, to get the proper flow of traffic into that new terminal. If you only expanded the existing terminal into the west, you don't have that problem quite the same way.
Sure. So questions I have. I guess first statement, but I mean, I think barring any sort of, we don't know what the future has. We don't know if we're going to remodel that terminal, we're going to build a new terminal, where the mayor and some other people think might be a good place to do a terminal. We've talked about building a terminal all the way close to the highway so that it makes it more of a regional airport versus a city airport. There's a lot of discussion about that. And I hate to, I kind of feel like when I think my MO is when we don't know where we're going exactly.
I'm trying to help you.
Thank you. When we don't know exactly what we're doing, we should do whatever's best for us today. Because you can always say, what if ad nauseum. I agree with the philosophy that you're talking about as far as we really want to make sure that we provide value. I'm glad, while I don't have a problem, and I think we need, if you look at every successful airport, paid parking is part of the model that works. Nearly every single airport our size or larger. There might be some smaller ones that have free parking, but you're gonna be tough to find an airport that's larger than us has free parking. It's just part of the way the economics work for airports. But I think the flip side of it is too, though, I think about when I go and I pay, and when I have to fly Southwest, because I always try to fly out of Roswell. But when I have to fly Southwest to go up to Albuquerque, I pay for parking. And it's not just, what I'm paying for is sometimes I'm paying for covered, but it's also secured. It's also being watched. Some level, obviously, there's no guarantee that somebody's not going to break in, but you feel better about it knowing that you left it in a secure area, so to speak. And I like the idea of providing that. I know I've talked to some of our residents, our constituents, who would really prefer that because they go on a long trip. They want to leave their car out there and they want to know that someone's keeping an eye on it. Right now you put your car out there and it's all access, easy access. It's not, there's the areas aren't super well defined. And I think the better we can do that and provide that value, perceived or otherwise, I think it's a great idea. So I know we're not voting on this, so I think as far as feedback from myself, I just want to make sure that, I guess worst case scenario is we put something where we don't want it. We decide something else is more important there, then we bulldoze it. If it's actually worth it, then we do it. If it's not that big of a deal, then it doesn't really matter anyway. So I would just encourage staff and engineering, as you guys are working on this, to make sure that we don't hamstring what we're offering too much. Make sure we shouldn't compromise that far over for what ifs. I think that's some of my feedback on it. I'm excited to get this project going. And, you know, and I am glad though that we're stepping into this because I think there probably would be some constituents who would howl a little bit if we didn't have any free parking out there. But again, I'm okay with, as much as I enjoy the free parking myself, I'm okay with moving away from it and understanding the economics of the airport and that we need to build up more revenue streams to keep that thing, to get that thing closer to self-supporting. So those are my comments. Any counselors' comments? Go ahead.
I like the idea of that area 1, area 2. You know, area 1 not having covered, just move it over. Because you're going to get people parking there anyway.
Well, yeah, if we put the cover there, it would be gated so that, you know, you had to go in and pay. It'll all be automated in some way. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like yet, but we're not intending to put gate attendants out there. Any of the covered area is going to be accessible only by running, you know, going and grabbing a ticket or running your phone or your card, however that works out, so that when you leave, you do pay for that. So it would be restricted. The only other thing I didn't really mention is whatever terminal expansion plan we go with, the one thing that if it's on this side of the airport, the one thing that's going to limit us in the long run is the parking real estate. That we have a lot of room on the ramp to go out into the ramp for gates, but in the end, our parking site plan is crucial to the success of what we do at that terminal on that spot, whether it's to the west of the current terminal or in the same spot that it is now. All of our space that we need to conserve and to be very efficient with is the parking space.
And you can expand to area where area 3 is right there. Can you
Correct.
expand?
And that's it. Area 3 is reserved for future use, and that could be a parking lot, that could be a hotel. It's the one that we go, okay, we just need a little space up there so that we can be flexible with what we do with it.
And the land that we just acquired, or I should say the water department acquired, is that right there?
That is correct. It's right across.
It's right across the street.
The entrance.
And then the other piece of, to kind of dovetail into what you said, Counselor, is when we're talking about paid parking and getting a value for that, we get calls all the time for covered parking. So we know there's some demand. A little hard to determine exactly what the demand is, but quite honestly, if we build a piece and it fills up immediately, we know we underbuilt. And then we can do that organically as that demand, you know, comes along, we can cover more of
You're
it.
planning on having 54 paid spaces out there. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yes. And then there's always room for something to be free with the amount of expansion that we can do. It just gets further and further away from the terminal.
Which is fine. You know, I can't imagine that you won't fill a 54.
Right.
Based on the amount of people you have parking out there in that existing parking spot, that'll be full day one.
Yeah, another thing to remember is that when you look at the demographics of folks that fly in and out of Roswell, 75% of our flyers are business. And the business flyers are going to want that value. They're going to want the covered, you know, their companies typically are paying for their travel costs. So they'll pay the amount, whatever it is a day.
Sure. $25 a day, right?
Right?
25 a day, right?
It's 37 at Chicago, so it should be cheap for 25 in Roswell.
Yeah, I think that we're going to find, if, you know, I think we really should, if it's possible, do some sort of survey of the people out there, customers, something. And because I'd hate for us to not build enough covered parking to just immediately grow out of it. I'd rather be, because obviously you can make more, but then you got to go through this whole process again. And there's that cost to it, not just the actual dollar cost, but the cost of engineering, stuff like that. So we should probably be squeezing out as much paid parking as possible. You know, I do think too, just for feedback, is there's probably some value for semi-secured paid uncovered parking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's fenced or whether it's got cameras on it or whatever, but there's probably some value in that as well. Margaret, do you have anything?
I think that that's a great idea. you know, that the covered parking in our heat during the summer would be phenomenal, as well as in the winter or on a day like this. But you know, I think that this would definitely be a step up for our airport and for the guests that use it. So I think it's a good idea.
Councilor Sanchez?
Counselor?
Yes. That each come, yeah, to that of what's
I think he's saying that he agrees with the idea of going with that covered parking.
yeah, you give that each day come up. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Charge each day.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yep.
You charge.
yeah, to come up.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
Good.
yeah, to come up.
What else do you need from us right now?
So,
Voting on it.
so to summarize this plan with Area 1 being unpaved, Area 4 being paved, everybody's okay with that? Or, I mean, we could, like you said, we could draw this out forever.
Where does it go from here, Scott?
The next phase is to take it to Armstrong and they actually do the design work. So this is just the footprint, basically. And then we have another phase coming in a couple of years if we get the grant. And then we could choose where we fill in more covers or what we do with that. But it would be based on this footprint.
So once the design is complete, would it go out to bid or would
Yes.
this, okay. So then infrastructure would have another opportunity to see it once the completed design.
Yes.
You okay with that, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, and on this kind of stuff, you know, I'm glad that we get to put eyes on it, stuff like that, but,
Yeah,
you know, I'm most interested in what staff's recommendation is. They're out there day in, day out working on it, so.
Engineering supports the project.
So, as long as staff's getting what they need and yeah, I mean, we've been waiting for this for a while, obviously got hung up because of COVID, but let's get it done.
And I agree with what you're saying. Once the covered parking takes off, we're gonna be building more.
yeah,
I think so.
Build as much as you can.
And even the parking lot that we built, how many years ago, there was cameras in there. People just didn't realize it, but we had the cameras in there.
Yeah, and we've still got cameras there, so we'll need to expand into the new areas. But that's part of our, as we are able to do so with security, we'll put more cameras in lots of places.
And I agree, it'd be a tiered parking charge. Fenced and secured, no cover, X amount of dollars, covered, Y amount of dollars.
Yep.
yeah.
But we'll still have plenty of free parking for people who either can't afford it or who just want to whine about it. And we'll just make them walk a little farther.
Well, and one of the things too that we'll see as we have more of it that's charged parking, you'll see people find ways to drop folks off instead of leaving a car. You know, if they can't afford it, and right now they don't have to think about that so much because it's so convenient. But I don't see us ever at this point, you know, having no free parking. It just gets moved.
And that's part of unauthorized free parking. You can find out they're pretty easy too.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're on to action, regular items action. Item number 4, direction of water security, priority and effluent.
Yeah, this was brought up, I believe in April infrastructure, and we discussed it. We did some more research. I think there's two things that we're looking at is the water rights would be the priority, then the effluent recycled water review. What I would suggest, and based on what's been happening with Carlsbad Irrigation District and all the concerns with the water and the droughts that we've been seeing, is let's eat this elephant one piece at a time.
Okay.
And let's just go for right now. If you would give me direction to get some scope of work and prices for a water right prioritization. And what- generically talking, we want to make sure that our water rights are assigned to the right use. So if there's ever a call, that the people of Roswell would not be impacted. Maybe our customers would be impacted, but not the people of Roswell, not our core citizens.
Sure.
On that. Let's say we had a lease for whatever, a widget factory. We would have them have junior rights, but our domestic water should always have the most senior rights. And if you would give me permission with that, the way it works, if I could get something suitable, because it would be an engineering study, and then of course attorneys with water rights study. We can get something for under 60,000 under our procurement. Once Parker looks at it and Joe Neb looks at it, they can sign it. We go into agreement. If it's over that, then I have to bring it back here for your review.
Let's not go over that, please.
Well, I know, but I don't know.
I
I'm
know.
just giving you the process, giving you all the steps.
Counselors, questions, comments?
That's a good idea. Do that.
I mean, water is very important. We see that more and more around the world, the United States. So I think our water rights, have the experts look at it and what's the best thing for us to do to protect and prioritize our water rights. Lorenzo, do you have any?
No, I think it's a good idea to get onto that and protect our water fields out there, make sure we got sufficient water rights for everybody to protect our system, making sure our customers come first.
Great. So what we're acting on then is this is going to be
Your motion would be for engineering to proceed with some sort of water right prioritization report.
yeah, do we need to send this to full council?
No?
I don't think we need to.
Okay.
Because it's not a budget issue and.
Okay, so just proceed,
Problem with that? That's it.
proceed. If it's over 60,000, then I'll be back.
Yeah, you'll be back, yeah. So then I would entertain a motion to give a direction.
Yeah. Yeah. To come back, yeah.
Well, they'll come back when they have a price.
No, come back.
They're planning on,
Is he requesting, you want to see the agreement before, the scope of work before?
Yeah,
Okay. It's your prerogative, Mr. Chairman.
so,
I could come back with the scope of work once I have, because I'm gonna ask for
Right.
some quotes and stuff, and I can come back and share it with you.
you want to see what we're buying before we pay for it?
yeah.
Okay, well, let's go ahead then. If none of the councils have any objections, you want to bring back a little more detail about what you're going to be asking for?
Yeah, once I have a vendor in mind and
Sure.
scope of work and everything else, a draft, just like we do with everything else.
That's fine. Yeah, because you don't necessarily need a vote on this per se. You can move forward without a
Okay.
vote. So we'll wait then and you can bring us back more information.
It
And
might be next month, it might be the month after.
I think that's fine. This is important and we want to stay on top of it, but it's not necessarily, nothing's burning down right now.
Correct.
So it's just good long-term planning. So, okay, then no action then on item number 4. Let's go move on to item number 5, Mountain View Middle School water line.
Mountain View Middle School, our ISD has requested. I do want to introduce the committee to Jeremy Sanchez. He's the new project coordinator, and would you like to make your presentation?
Good afternoon, counselors. My name is Jeremy Sanchez. I recently joined Roswell School District as a construction coordinator. As I understand it, this project may have been in discussions late 2019, early 2020. And so what the district is hoping to accomplish is a water line extension to beyond the city water system. Extension would be from Main Street, just directly down Mountain View to the project site. It's roughly about 1,800 linear feet to get that water service to the front door of the school. In 2019, the district received funding from the state to do a water project, or excuse me, a school project. And so as we are looking at planning for the success of that project, we'd like to be on city service, which is uninterruptible, as opposed to what our current service is.
Who are they on now?
We're on co-op water.
Miranda Water.
So as we look at making large changes for the community and the school, we'd like to transition over. The state award specifically, and I addressed this a little bit in my request to Mr. Nahar, but the state specifically requires that all of our utilities be in place as we begin our design and our construction process. So I'll stand for any questions if you have any, understanding that right now.
You have to wait till we actually have the line there before you start designing, or the commitment?
Well, so really a commitment to get into place. Now, the design process will take the better part of a year, the construction. So we have some time, but we really need to know the locations of lines. And
right, of course. I assume, I think we discussed this already, but y'all refresh my memory, that they would be charged the out-of-town rate.
Yes, they would be county customers.
Okay.
Similar to Miranda Elementary School. RIC the city built the line, RIC reimbursed us, but they're getting paid the county, they're paying the county rate, which is double the normal rate.
And on this, are we getting reimbursed for this line, or is this what we're picking up the cost on?
No, the city would build it, and the letter of commitment that Jeremy is talking about, that they'll reimburse us.
Oh.
Once the project's done, I'll send the letter to Mr. Sanchez asking reimbursement, and then RIC will make a check out to the city of Roswell and reimburse us for the project.
Okay. Any questions from the committee?
I think that's a good idea because they'll get better fire protection also. They get that.
If you're familiar with the schools, when Miranda has a leak, sometimes they have to turn off the whole system. So, just to give you an idea where it's gonna go, it's gonna go between the pavement and the trees, right about right here.
Okay.
You're looking towards the school.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Or anybody else? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
With the project?
Yes. And I guess, what are we actually, this is not a resolution.
No, this was not a resolution. This to proceed with the project.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy.
You good?
No,
No, you're
no.
not good. What's going on?
Yeah.
So the school will pay for this water line after we put it in. We'll put the money up front from the water.
From the water maintenance transmission?
We have over 5 million in that right now, I believe.
I couldn't answer that. That'd be.
Yeah, exact number, but there is money in the fund.
Yes. And then the state will through the school.
RISD would
reimburse us for that. And then this gives them consistent city water versus Brendo, which on occasion, my parents are in Brendo, they live out in the county. On occasion, the water goes off and it takes a while to get it fixed. And of course, if the water goes off in the school's building, that close the school down. And that's what they want to avoid, I assume. Because that's a hardship not only on the teachers, but it's a hardship on all the families that have kids there because they got to come pick them up.
Yeah.
You can't operate a school without bus drivers. Yeah, there's just the cascading effect. So consistent water is very important. So, but I didn't hit your point though.
No, no, no. Yeah.
So, for first, so are you looking for a full council approval on this?
Yes, I would.
Okay, that's what you're
I'd
wanting.
like the full council to be aware of what's going on here.
So
Because
basically,
it would be at 500,000 más o menos upfront expenditure.
right. Okay, do you have a problem with the 500,000 up front?
No, 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 no. Go back. The,
From what I'm getting
Sure.
from him is that he agrees that it's a good idea because we have what, last year, we had it happen twice where it was shut down because of underwater, and then it should be city water, so that doesn't happen. I think he's in agreement with it.
Yeah.
We'll give you as much time as you want. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, if that's the case, then we will, I'd entertain a motion to recommend that city proceed with the Mountain View Middle School water line project. I think that's the motion that we want.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to recommend the city council on July 8th, 2021 to proceed with proposed construction of water line to Mountain View Middle School.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, councilors.
Thank you very much. Good luck. Okay.
Here, what you have before you now, Mr. Chairman and committee, is proposed resolution 21XX to accept the Water Trust Board through New Mexico Finance Authority project funding terms to construct the new water lines in the Edgewood area. Just to refresh your memory, in 2019, the infamous Garden Water Project, we went from 3rd Street up to Cherry, and then we stubbed out with the 12-inch water line. That was phase 1. Phase 2, this picture we've had for years already, but phase 2 is now this orange line from Cherry, from Garden to Atkinson. And then we would have more phases after that. This is an old neighborhood, does have some asbestos cement pipe, some old cast iron pipe, so we're trying to replace and fix all those. I would imagine that the next phase 3 would probably be the rest of the orange. And then phase 4 would be probably the green, depending on prices and funding. But this would be the phase 2, starting where we stub down here and come out here and tie into the 10-inch water line on this side over here. So we would have a loop system. As we go through, we tie into all the side streets, and then we would also tie into the existing customers. We did ask for $750,000 of funding. They did grant that. It's going to be 40% loan, which is $300,000, and 60% grant, which is $450,000. So the $300,000 loan would be at 0.25% interest for 20 years, administrative fee of 1/4%. And then of course the grant would be $450,000. As you look at this, the project cost right now is estimated at $1,152,630. And the net match would be $402,630 when it's all said and done from Water Maintenance and Transmission Fund, Water Enterprise Fund. The resolution has gone to city attorney. I need the resolution. So when we do the closing of the loan and everything else, that city government is okay with this loan and grant situation. And then the mayor would sign the closing papers. And I stand for any questions.
Questions?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry I'm not there. This is Counselor Stubbs.
Councilor Stubbs, go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. So like I say, sorry I'm not here. There. I'm here. I'm not there. Louis, I made some changes to this resolution. Have you not included them, or I'd rather it happen at committee than at council.
Oh, yeah, this is the
Oh,
previous
yeah.
version. Yeah, okay, yes, she does have it. Basically, she's added some language after the last paragraph, where it would say, now therefore it be resolved that the governing body of the city of Roswell would.
Sure, nothing that cleans it up, but doesn't substantially change the terms.
Correct.
That's fine.
There's nothing, Mr. Chair, there's nothing changing the substance of the resolution. I made a few little word changes at it,
That's fine. That's
very,
fine, Ken.
very small. But the last whereas, I changed it, as Lewis just said, to now therefore be it resolved by the city council, the governing body of the city of Roswell, that the city of Roswell accepts funding. Because you need a resolve. So I just changed that last language to a resolve as opposed to another whereas.
Sure. Counselor Stubbs, I think we're okay with incorporating your changes.
And thank you, Counselor Stubbs, because I put in the first draft and not the second draft.
That's fine, I understand, but like I said, I'd just soon take care of it here than at council. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, absolutely no problem. Okay, if there's no other questions on this, let's go ahead and I'd take a motion to approve the resolution with the changes recommended by Counselor Stubbs.
Make a motion to consider resolution 21-XX to accept terms of Water Trust Board funding to construct new water lines in the Edgewood area and send to the July 8th, 2021 City Council with those changes that were stated.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Number 7.
Number 7 is another resolution, Mr. Chairman and committee. This is for local government agreement with the DOT. So we would do East College from Maine to Atkinson, and we would do a Nova chip. Nova chip's what we just did on North Main between College and Country Club. So we would do that pavement rehabilitation or pavement maintenance operation. The total project is $398,100. The DOT will participate in 50%, $199,050. Again, I need this resolution to accompany the agreement, which would be signed right after council on July 8th. So we would have the agreement signed by the mayor, accepting the terms. And you see the paperwork there in the attachment, and then we would need a resolution. But that's what that's for. The money's already in the budget. If you look at your preliminary budget for fiscal year 22, this one's already programmed. And it's my hope to get this one done and Atkinson Nova chip done in the fall.
Any questions?
I just wanted to say this is exciting news. I was just on East College earlier today, and I think all of this is happening right about the right time. So, and I know the weather doesn't help, but thank you, Lewis, for all your work.
Yes, Counselor, thank you.
As this has already been budgeted, I would be okay with sending this to the consent agenda.
That's good.
Unless anybody else has objections to that.
This does qualify for consent.
So I would entertain a motion to send this to consent agenda.
Make a motion to send resolution 21-YY to July 8th consent agenda to accept DOT funding in the amount of $99,050 for pavement rehabilitation improvements, control number L200528.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving right along.
Mr. Chairman, committee, what you have before you now is consider the award of ITB-21-005 New Mexico DOT, control number 2104400. This is North Atkinson Rehabilitation Project and recommending to award to J&H Services of Albuquerque, New Mexico in the total amount $1,326,071.38, which does include GRT. You'll see on the map, the city map, this was 2nd Street. We proposed Atkinson from Second to College in 2018. It was too much money at that one time. For the whole southeast New Mexico, there was only $100 million, there was only $1 million for the Serpo. Roswell, we competed for it and we got the whole $1 million. So the reimbursement will be $1 million. And this was also the last project that Serpo gave out using that kind of funding. So it does have some history behind it. Also, if you remember the TPF, the call for projects for the DOT, I did submit the project from Cherry to College, which would be the next phase, and see if we can get some money. If not, we'll just keep on applying for money until we do get money from the DOT. This is State Road 256, which is part of the truck route on the east side. The work is to completely remove the pavement down to 18 inches and rebuild the pavement all the way up. And then where there is no sidewalk, put some sidewalk and then ADA ramps into corners. And stand for any questions. And this is already in the fiscal 22 budget as well.
Any questions, counselors? If not, and as it has been budgeted, I'm going to go ahead and, assuming there's no objections from any of the counselors, I would ask that we send this to the consent agenda.
This does qualify for consent.
I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to send the consent agenda on July 8th, 2020, ITB-21-005, NMDOT-CN 2104400, North Atkinson Rehabilitation Project to J&H Services of Albuquerque, not stated.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
We'll probably have this one under construction this fall.
Before we move on, well, actually, maybe even kind of leading. No, forget it. Go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chairman Committee, what you have before you now is item number 9, fiscal year 22 road repair list. The reason this is here, what you have in the packet is a copy of the resolution 2127, which was passed, saying that the city manager or designee shall notify council of all the projects in mind. So in an attachment, you have excerpts from our fiscal year 22 budget. And then the only thing that is not finalized is what we've been having discussion on is the microsurfacing of the residential streets in the around town. What we did, streets department took the 5-year plan from the pavement condition plan, broke it up into the wards and the way they're listed. So we can start with ward number 1 on page 48. So basically, the way they're listed is just the way they found them as they went to the priority list. They took all the residential streets from the first 5 years. You have a running total. And my suggestion, we basically have 500,000. If you look on page 46 of your handout, the very last item, line item number 18, citywide residential street improvement programs. The current budget's 500,000 for this project. And my suggestion is just, as I go down this one, let's say I would just take items. I would go down to Lee Street and stop for Ward 1. The first, what is that? 1, 2, 3, first 5 streets. And then on Ward 2, I would go probably down to where it's line item number 9, Washington. And I would proceed the same way with the other wards. Just go down where the 100,000 más o menos finishes, call it good for that ward. That's one option. Another option is council, you have the prerogative to want to change priorities within your wards, or want to come up with a different idea.
Councilors, any comments? So
I appreciate how this has been broken down. I think this gives us a good idea of the priorities in each ward. I think, Louis, you have a good idea. I know in some areas, obviously, that 100,000 isn't going to go as far as in other areas, but I think it is a good start to dealing with these issues.
Thank you, Counselor.
So I don't necessarily have a problem with splitting up among the wards. I don't feel like it's absolutely necessary. I understand what you're advising on that. My question on that is, how much efficiency are we losing by splitting them up in wards? Well, obviously, when you shrink a project, how much overhead any kind of savings if we did all in one area at one time versus bouncing around like this?
There wouldn't be any savings because the contractors mobilized to Roswell.
Okay.
By what we've also done here is try to make it not just little blocks.
Yeah.
Let's say the plan had one block. Well, we looked at it and made it a couple of blocks so it makes more sense and more efficiency as you're stating. So that's how we came up with the list.
So you don't feel like that there's any
there's no loss in efficiency or cost
by splitting it up among the 5 wards? Because I think that's the concern that I've heard. I don't have a problem splitting up. I don't really care as long as roads are getting done somewhere. Personally, I don't care. But I know that I understand your desire. So when someone calls you and says, hey, how come they fix it in one place and not the other? Because you're going to get that phone call probably before we get it for some reason.
Well, these are the projects for the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can't do it in 5 years at 100,000.
Right.
Typically for.
Well, I think that's.
So what are you going to, as far as the urgency, you're not going to lose a whole lot of urgency. The roads, all the roads, you can throw a dart and just start picking roads that need it right now, but.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's my main thing. As long as you feel like that by splitting it up, we're not roads resurface.
No, and that was one thing that we used to try to do when we had the $1 million a year, was try to do a little bit in each ward. We understand that every ward should get a piece of the pie. At least that's my professional opinion.
Sure.
And that's what we've tried to do here.
Sure. And again, as long as we're not losing any money doing it that way, I don't. Doesn't bother me necessarily at all. I mean, they can all, like you said, you can throw a dart anywhere. It needs the help.
The work is being scheduled. This contractor, we've already contacted him, can't be here till March 2022. So, I mean, the only thing that would change if Mother Nature tears up some streets more than what we have on this list, then we would have to move to that street that was used as a storm drain.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I'd be okay with that, just pick
just go down to 100,000 Mas Menos and call it good?
Yeah.
Draw the line?
Yeah. I'd be good with that.
Yeah, but we'll let the full council obviously weigh into this, but
that's my plan, and that's why it's all, and then what would happen, this would be the list, what we don't finish next year. I mean, this year, the list would just move up and there's your priorities. So the citizens could have an idea if there's streets on the list when it would happen.
So let me ask you a question, because I got an email about it. I think all the councilors did, about, what was the email about? Was it Missouri? You check your email last night today?
Not today.
Would you like to go over the program?
No, I don't really want to go over the whole program right now. I do, that's right, but anyways.
Missouri is bad.
Well, Missouri is line item number 14 on Ward 1.
So, well,
and again, I mean,
anyways, I'll if you haven't seen the email already, I'll forward it to you. But it would be, I'd like to get back to that constituent, and I think one of the purposes of doing this is so our constituents can look and see. And that way, if they have a problem, if they can come to us, because not only do we see things, but our constituents, they might come to us and say, hey, this area is really, really bad. And then we can kind of have a way to bring that feedback to you. And then you can, add your engineering expertise to it and see if what they're telling us makes any sense.
Yeah, because if, let's assume North Missouri from 2nd to 8th Street is your concern.
Sure.
If you look on Ward number 1, it's on line item 14.
Yeah.
The money's 191.
Mhm.
So it would be in year 2.
Okay. Good. Good.
I mean, that's the beauty of these
Yeah.
charts.
Great.
It gives you an idea of where you'd be.
And
Now,
so all these, what percentage of our 350 miles or so of streets are represented by these ward lists? Rough guess. I'm not gonna hold you to it.
under 5%.
This is under 5% of our streets. Not the ones that were actually, I'm sorry, the whole list. What is, of all our streets, including our large streets, our medium streets, and our small streets,
For
what percentage of the total mileage is represented, not by the ones we are paving, but this whole list right here? Like all these lists
this
combined.
would probably be about,
Is it half? Is it
no, about 20%.
20%? Okay,
Because when we used to do $1 million a year,
sure.
it would take about 8 years till you get around.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So about $1 million a year at past money value, if you know your economics, is about 15%, 12%.
yeah, okay. Well, we will,
And that's the dilemma that we have, is that it takes a long time to get around.
Yeah.
And again, that was one of the reasons, I mean, if you guys are talking budget amendments or there's some money left over that things are looking good, we might throw a little extra.
well, apparently we have till March anyway, so.
We have till March, absolutely.
So I think that discussion will definitely come up. Any other questions on this? Okay, if not, I will entertain a motion.
Is your motion going to include the mythology of 100,000 per ward?
I just want to
Or you just want to forward it?
refer this list up to the, we can defend our points at council, it won't matter.
I'll make a motion to send this to full council with the fiscal year 22 road repair list and give direction and residential street selection list.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And the good thing too is that you have to bring us back in 6 months, twice a year. So that will trigger us again to have that discussion about,
We'll see where we're at. I'll give you an update of what we've done for the fiscal year.
and is there more money and is there more need? So I think that's good that we keep this policy keeps this in the council's purview, so it doesn't get forgotten about like it has so often. in the past. Thank you very much. We're on item number 10.
Item number 10 is New Mexico Department of Transportation, Resolution 21ZZ, providing support of a recreational trail project RTP application in the amount $236,000 for Spring River Trail Rehab Project Phase 2. As you recall, we got a project that we're waiting to start on the Spring River Trail from Atkinson to Virginia. We're skipping from Virginia to Pennsylvania because that's underneath the river, which is concrete. And then the part by the overflow parking lot, we did that when we did the overflow parking lot. So the next phase that we would be doing would be roughly a mile starting at Pennsylvania, Iron Cross Park, and go to Union.
Okay.
So we would fix all the repairs if the trees are messed up or anything's messed up, and then put an overlay, redo the crosswalks and that sort of stuff. One thing we did learn.
That's the center of the trail.
Yes.
Effectively.
And I'm just starting east to west to have one constant direction. But this is the call for projects for the DOT. This is the time of year that they're asking for this, and there is money. I put for 236. This is just an application. This would be fiscal year 23 money. But the application does require a resolution of support from the governing body. And that's what you have before you. It would be a 85.44% federal money and 14.56% city match. So out of $236,000, we would get reimbursed $201,638.40 with a net match of $34,000. $361.60. Again, just trying to put some maintenance money into the Spring River Trail.
And, you know, we hear the trail, number one, you know, I live pretty close to the part you're talking about. It's well used. It's a popular part of the trail. It is right kind of there in the center of the whole thing. It's something that our constituents, I hear from constituents anyway, that they want maintenance on it. They want to keep that trail maintained. I was really happy that we've got started on the project there on the, I think what's the worst part. I know you're starting east to west, but I still think that's the part where it needs the most love of that trail. And I'm glad that we're keeping our eye on the ball, so to speak, and keep moving through and eating the elephant one bite at a time.
Absolutely.
Comments from or questions from the committee? I think, do you have a problem anybody have a problem sending this to consent?
He qualifies.
Yeah, I think we can send this to consent. If somebody wants to pull off, they can, but I think right at this point, we're just asking for money. We're not doing anything else besides that, so. Okay, well, I entertain a motion to send this to consent agenda.
Make a motion to send resolution 21-ZZ to the consent agenda for July 8th, 2020. Provides support for a recreational trail project application in the amount of $236,000 for the Spring River Trail Project Phase 2.
Second.
Okay, great. A motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Excellent. Number 11.
Mr. Chairman and committee, what you have before you is consider resolution 21AA, provide support of transportation alternative program, TAP, application, the amount of $225,000 for connections between Spring River Trail and Cielo Grande Trail. Again, this is an application for fiscal year 23. It does require a resolution of support from the governing body. The trail connection has been discussed at Parks and Rivers Commission and General Services. And as you look on your page 70 of the handout, there's various options.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what Parks and Rec is doing right now, General Services, or you as a commission or as a committee, council, pick an option. It doesn't matter at this time because this application is independent of all that discussion that's going on, because this is just asking for money. Let's say council picks one and builds one, we would just build another connection with this money. Because I mean, we all know that Spring River Trail is the most used trail. We all know that Cielo Grande is our up and coming pride of Roswell there with all the sports complex and everything else. Having more than one connection makes complete sense. And the money I'm asking for is based on the most expensive one to date, but they're independent of each other. Again, all we're asking for is a resolution of support for the application and see if we get picked, and the money would be available fiscal year 23. Again, the same 85.44 split government, federal government, and then 14.56% of city match. And I stand for any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, so many questions. I'm excited that we're staying on this though. You know, I know there's been a lot of hand wringing and debate about how this should be connected. And I appreciate you guys staying on it. And I know it hasn't been an easy journey at all, but I think this is one way where we do have that really nice Cielo Grande area. Hopefully sports plus, but right now primarily sports. A lot of nice green areas out there too, but people use that walking trail a lot. And it would sure be nice if people could get there from the Spring River Trail. I think it would facilitate a lot more walking. There's not a great way, college, unfortunately, while it's heavy traffic, the actual infrastructure there is pretty weak. There's no sidewalks there. There's not really any kind of great ways to get over to Cielo Grande on foot from due east of it, outside of walking on the streets themselves. So that I know of, there's not great sidewalks in that part of town. So this, I think, provides a great option for families that want to get there. Maybe they have a sports game going on or whatever, or just want to picnic there or go to the recreation center, but they want to get on their bicycles and go, or they want to get on their skateboards and go, or they just want to walk, have somewhere to walk to. I think it's a great option. We do need to get that. We need to get one of these options figured out. And I think the council needs to,
Okay, where it stands right now, we're looking
is
at
Park
services.
Okay, did the Parks Commission make a recommendation on this?
Park Commission made option number 1, and then general services tabled. They want to see more on option 2 costs and then option 3 costs.
Which one's the most expensive?
Option 1, because if you went north to avoid the private property, when you cross the Arroyo, you almost need a little pedestrian bridge to cross the Arroyo.
Yeah. The other thing with option 1 too, which is interesting, I know we're not debating this right now, but I know but the one thing that I think we had pretty fairly unanimous support on for the planning of Russell Cielo Grande was rerouting 8th Street. And if we do eventually reroute 8th Street, that would just wipe that out.
Yes, if we did reroute, and again, that's where Kevin and planning would come in. And council, you still have to, I want to be pushing you guys. You guys still have to decide what we're going to do with all the old municipal air.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think, in this case, something that, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Kevin about this.
8th Street to come up like that would be great.
Yeah.
And if that came up, then that gives plenty of safety corridor for the trail to take off here.
Yeah. So I think we should always move forward with the things that we feel good about. And I know that, well, I don't know that, but at the time we were discussing it, everybody felt pretty good about turning all that 8th Street between that and that runway, that strip along the golf course into residential right there and switching 8th up on the other side of it, I think is what we had talked about. So the 8th realigns here, the 8th Street over here, and then this turns into residential lots is what the last city planner had proposed. And I don't think that there was any opposition to it. I think there was probably some encouragement for it. So hopefully we can start grabbing little things off like that, but we'll see. But regardless, I'm sad that we aren't able to, I'm going to come back up here again. It's option number 3.
Yeah, the option number is the most simplest.
Sure. And the one thing that, and again, I don't want to, it would be interesting to see what would it be like. I know that these property owners, I heard their arguments. I was at one of those meetings and some interesting points. And I think it's interesting, but we certainly could carve off a little bit of that golf course too and put a trail on that side. But you don't want to comment on that right now.
I can't comment on that one.
Okay, he's going to leave that one.
I'm not parks.
So, but carving off a little bit of that golf course there so they can keep their alley the way it is. But then we can, because that is, to me, is the best place for that trail to connect. Because then people coming from both ways can go straight up. It's from a transportation standpoint, makes the most sense. So, okay, I'm sorry. That was mostly rabbit trail, slightly related, but you put the map up there, so.
That's fine.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, I like option 3 also, or option 4. Option 1 and 2 don't make any sense. You got most of the South Roswell.
Option 1 and 2 make you have to go all the way to that west side. And that's why I was saying, even if council was to build one right now, we'd still build another one because the trail is so long, the Cielo Grande is wide enough that it needs at least 2 connections.
Yeah, 2 would do that. Okay, if there's no other questions, I think we should let this go to full council, not consent, because I think people are gonna have something to say about it.
Okay.
So, let's just do that. Someone's going to want to ask the questions.
Well, yeah, and I'll have to explain that these are independent actions.
Yes.
Hear you.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that. So let's just not, we'll just go and put it to consent. Okay, otherwise somebody will be worried that we've committed to a certain plan, which we're not doing.
We're not.
So you're going to have to explain.
I'm just looking for money.
So great. All right. Well, if that's the case, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to send a full council resolution 21-AA, which provides support of the Transportation Alternative Program application in the amount of $225,000 for connections between Spring River Trail and Cielo Grande Trail, the July 8th meeting.
Second.
Second. And I
Okay,
just
all in
want to mention, I think Lewis is very good at finding money.
Thank you, Counselor.
Great. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, other business, department reports.
Department reports, you have any questions on any of the department reports?
Not at the current time.
Okay.
Just a couple of updates, Mr. Chairman and committee members. We did get our operational permit for the splash pad
Oh, excellent.
last Wednesday. So today was supposed to be a soft opening. Didn't happen due to the weather, but pending weather, we'll open this week, and then library's coming down the line.
Okay.
There'll be some, there'll be a punch list, but we're trying to get the restrooms open, the children's area main open, and then be done, and we're very, very close.
Okay, I know that people are waiting,
Yes.
so thank you for working on it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? Committee, anybody? Okay, if not, let's go to public comment. Larry, you got anything?
Yes. Larry Conlon, 2815 in Cantal. It's a question. The money from the flood. I know that we applied state and federal to cover what all the damage up by the base. And I'm just wondering, do we have an idea when this might come through?
Okay, the streets department, FEMA was here last week. They met with the county, they met with the street department. In fact, Juan worked up an estimate for Quinn. We're asking for, I believe, over $1 million on repairs, just the road repairs. But all that goes to FEMA. They evaluate it and tell us yay, no, or how much. So we're still in the calculation and application process.
Educated guess when we might hear back from FEMA?
No, sir.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't deal with that. That's a Karen Sanders question. We were just dealing with the technical part and crunching out numbers.
fine. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else? If not, we are adjourned. Next meeting, July 26th. See you then.
And they'll be before the
Before the yes.
special council. It should be short and sweet. One item, I think.
Thank you very much. I like